Hello, good evening. Welcome to the SRUC Aberdeen BVSci Veterinary Science Online Open event. My name is Stephen Grant. I'm the Marketing and Student Recruitment Officer for the vet school. I won't stay on too long because it's not me you're here to see. I will very quickly introduce Paul Wood, our Program Director for the BVSci, and I will pass it over to him to lead the presentation. There'll be a Q&A opportunity at the end, so if you can just type your questions into the text box and we will answer them then. Thank you. Over to you, Paul.
Thanks, Stephen. Hi, everyone. Thanks for giving us your time this evening. I hope that we can answer your questions, but thank you for showing interest in our vet program. First, some apologies. I've just come back from annual leave with a bit of a cold, so apologies if I sound a bit congested. So we're here tonight to talk about the new vet program at our new vet school at SRUC, at the School of Veterinary Medicine, based in Aberdeen. So why have we set up a new vet school? So we've identified that there are issues within the veterinary profession that are producing gaps that need to be filled for the health of animals, the welfare of animals, and for food security. So for that reason, our program is going to really try and focus on rural and mixed primary care practice, so first opinion practice, food security and government services that are so essential in preventing disease and supporting One Health and human health. We're going to focus on interprofessional training. We have a great opportunity at SRUC with all our allied animal programs, and then making sure that we are developing all of our human skills alongside clinical skills. So it's not just about the practical skills that you can do, it's also about how you carry yourself and those professional relationships that we can build. So how are we going to focus on mixed practice? Well, hopefully if you've been on our website, you will see that we have a mission-based program, and that is to provide veterinary surgeons for Scotland's rural and rural and mixed practice and the rural economies and communities. And because of that, we have a mission-based admissions process, which I'll talk a bit more about, trying to ensure that we get the right students in to train in these important areas. We're also going to follow what's called a distributed model for final year, where we send you into partner practices, so quality assured partner practices, who can give you real world hands-on experience of the types of practice that you may go into as a vet. I mentioned food safety and government services. These are really important for the UK, for food safety, for human health, for animal health. And these are services that across the UK are provided by veterinary surgeons. However, it becomes even more important in rural and remote regions that veterinary surgeons are adequately trained in these areas because of the locations, the remote or ruralness of those locations, and how many workers in these areas are available. It's really essential that vets are trained so that we can identify disease and monitor disease for the good of animals, but also public health. So, you'll probably have seen in the news all about blue tongue virus, which has come back into the UK. So vets are an integral part of monitoring that disease spread and helping to put processes in place to stop it. So how are we going to do this? So we are going to embed components of official veterinarian training. So what normally happens is, following graduation as a vet, if you work for a practice that provides these services, you have to do further study, further theory and practical training to get the qualifications so that you can do this surveillance and monitoring. So we're going to embed that into our veterinary program so that when you graduate, you will have these extra advanced key skills that are needed and will make you, in my opinion, more employable to practices because they won't have to wait for you to complete this training. As I mentioned, we have a large benefit at SRUC in that we have a lot of allied and related programs which run alongside the veterinary program, or will run alongside the veterinary program, and these cover the breadth of veterinary activity. So not only do we have our vet nursing degrees and diplomas, but we also have our diploma in rural animal health, which we see as a program to train the veterinary technicians of the future. But we also have animal care courses, we have equine studies courses, agriculture courses. So all these allied professions that work alongside the veterinary team and the veterinary professionals to provide care to animals and livestock. And we really want to build on this ethos of, if we can learn together, then we'll be able to work together. And making sure that all of our students understand the values and the contributions of all members of that veterinary team that are all aiming to improve animal health and welfare. So I'm not going to keep this slide up for long, but this just shows the breadth of the programs that we offer across SRUC related to the School of Veterinary Medicine. And as you can see, we have lots of expertise and a wide range of not only staff, but facilities and courses where we can all learn and benefit from each other. So what are our entry requirements? Again, this is something we're going to do slightly differently. We do have a slightly lower tariff than most other vet schools in the UK, and also in what we're requesting from you in terms of subjects. So we're asking for 2 advanced hires at BB to include 1 science subject from chemistry, physics and biology, but we do not mind which of those the science subject is. Plus then 5 hires at AA and 3Bs to include at least 2 science subjects. And those 2 science subjects can come from chemistry, physics, biology, human biology or maths. It's not on this slide, but maths is included in the hires. There are other routes which would include completing our HND in rural animal health. So this is a program which, if you were to complete that and get A's in the graded modules on that course, you would be guaranteed an interview for vet school. It won't guarantee you a place on the vet program, but it will guarantee you an interview. The other thing I really want to make quite clear is, whatever your pathway to higher education, you will be considered, or you will be looked at. So if you haven't had a very direct route to application, or if you've had a wibbly wobbly career thus far, academic or job wise, then contact us through our admissions team or through our inquiries part of the website, and then we can talk to you about your individual situations and give you advice on what you may need to do, or where we would feel you could progress. Also important that to note that we have a contextual offers policy, which is on our website, and that has all the criteria where contextual offers will be considered. Our contextual offers would be 2 Bs at advanced hire, but 5 Bs at higher. So if you're unsure whether you fit that, have a look on our website, have a look on the SRUC contextual offers policy. But what the vet school is also doing is we will also include people who are classed as from remote and rural backgrounds, and that's based on points 5 to 8 on the 8-fold urban rural classification. So that's something that you can look at on the Scottish Government website to find out whether you are eligible for that. What else are we going to ask for? So as I said, we've got a mission-led admissions policy and an admissions process. So we are asking for supplementary documentation documents to be submitted directly to SRUC alongside your UCAS application. One of these will be a submission of a statement reflecting your motivation, knowledge and experience of remote and rural practices and communities, including the livestock sectors, and we're calling that our letter to the head of school. We're asking for a submission of a vocational experience summary form, and that is details of animal husbandry experience, veterinary clinical experience, but any job experience that you've got. And within that, we're asking you to reflect on those experiences and try and draw in why they are relevant to being a veterinary surgeon. Excuse me. We're also asking for one reference from a placement or employment that you've had. And that is really just asking that reference how they feel your suitability for the vet program and to be a veterinary surgeon is. Those documents, once submitted, will form part of the application process in how we decide whether to offer interviews, and they will also form a part of the interview process. Our interview process will be a panel type interview. Yes, those documents will help our panel to lead those questions. So unfortunately, we are still waiting on the UK government to approve our programme, which is why we were unable to be in UCAS for the end of January. So the first opportunity to apply for the SRUC vet programme will be through clearings, which opens on July the 5th. Now, what we're hoping is that we will be allowed to make the supplementary documents procedure open prior to that date, which will give you more time to collate your thoughts and plan those responses. And we are going to put details of the required content available on our website soon. Even if you can't submit those documents yet, you can at least start thinking and planning your responses. After this year, after 2024's process, all applications will join the other vet schools applications for mid-October. So how is our course going to be different? Obviously, there are set content that the RCVS require us to teach in order to accredit us, and also to make sure you meet the day one competencies. How we deliver this is very much up to the school. And we've broken down sort of the course into 3 sections. So years 1 and 2 are underpinning knowledge and skills, where we're going to look at core principles, we're going to look at body systems, function and abnormalities, and we're going to look at animal industries. So really giving you that base knowledge to set you right for the rest of your career. The vet biology part of years 1 and 2 will be delivered in a systems based approach, where the systems will be taught within themselves, and all species will be taught across that. In years 3 and 4, we're looking more at understanding of clinical and professional practice, so how we manage common clinical problems, evidence-based veterinary medicine, and again, looking at more hands-on practical clinical skills as opposed to practical skills. Again, our vet medicine and surgery module in years 3 and 4 will be systems based and will follow the similar structure to in years 1 and 2. Year 5 is a fully distributed model where you'll be immersed in clinical and professional environments, learning how to be a veterinary professional from vets who are doing the jobs that you want to do. Across the 4 years, the first 4 years, there are various vertical themes. So professional skills development, really important. So that's where we're going to help support you in developing your communication, your behaviors, your attitudes, and like I said, that teamwork, that interprofessional team. We'll work on your clinical skills, your clinical reasoning, professional reasoning, because it's not just about clinical reasoning to get to the answer of a case. We've got to take in a lot of other human factors as well. Public health and animal welfare, as I said, it's a key aspect of our course, and that will run through all 4 years as well as a rotation in final year. And then we will also cover sustainable animal production, so making animal production fit for the future. Final year, distributed learning. So what are some of the benefits of sending you out into practices? So you'll be embedded in practice life, you know, working in real world situations, getting hands-on experience and in small groups, so you get more hands-on experience. You'll be mentored by those veterinary surgeons in practice, and we're going to introduce a mentoring system from year one involving those practitioners. It'll give you the opportunity to visit different practices across Scotland, maybe visit places you've not thought about working or living in before. You'll be in small groups, so probably groups of 3 in these practices. So you'll always have someone to talk to of an evening, maybe discuss cases, or just just have some social time with while you're out on these placements. And we really feel that these placements are going to be a really great year-long interview process, basically. So you can learn about the practices and they can learn about you, and it may open up employment opportunities for you. What rotations will there be? You will do core rotations, 4 weeks of equine practice, production animal practice, small animal practice, remote and rural practice, and veterinary public health and pathology. Then there'll be 3-week rotations, one in a referral practice, again, alongside your tutors and academic support staff. We'll be able to find you a referral practice that meets your interests. Then you're selective. You can choose to go back and revisit one of the core rotations to spend more time in a particular practice or just with a particular species or practice setup. And then the elective gives you a chance to experience other types of veterinary practice, so maybe pig or poultry specialist practice, maybe aquaculture, so fish farming. Maybe you'd like to spend some time in a laboratory or doing some research. So those are all potential elective subjects, and again, we'll work with you to find out what suits your aspirations best. Then the plan is at the end of final year is to bring everyone back, mostly online, but to do sort of a rotation summary, but also get you back in person for at least a couple of days, so that we can, give you a good send-off before you join the world of work. Another important part of the vet program is an RCVS requirement, and that is animal husbandry extramural studies or clinical extramural studies. Currently, the requirement is 12 weeks of animal husbandry EMS, and that has to be done by the 3rd year of the program, and then 26 weeks of clinical EMS, and that has to be done by the time you graduate. Again, what are we trying to do at SRUC to try and be a bit different? We really want to encourage you to choose your placements based on outcomes that you've designed for yourself, identifying your weaknesses, your strengths, your interests, and choosing placements that will help support your journey. We'll include weeks within term time to allow for some EMS outside of regular holidays. So hopefully, freeing up some time for you to get breaks throughout the year. We want to try and utilise our SRUC farms across Scotland to provide good quality placements that will have accommodation available, and also use our local facilities to Aberdeen to offer weekend placements. We really want to provide flexibility in how and when you can do EMS placements, and this is in line with RCVS changes where they are trying to encourage schools to be more flexible in what counts as EMS. So for those of you who haven't been able to join us on site for an in-person open day, just a little bit about our facilities. So the Ferguson building, this is where our library is, our seminar rooms, our computer labs, and our lecture theatres. So this is where most of the theoretical delivery of the course will be delivered. And we're also planning a small animal teaching clinic to be built on our ground floor to again provide clinical veterinary experiences from year 3, if not sooner. Over the road from the Ferguson building is the Mill of Craveston. This is where our animal care unit is. This is an excellent facility with a range of exotic and small mammal species, where we can deliver handling and husbandry practice and teaching. We have our vet services team based over at the Mill of Craveston, where there's a post-mortem room for doing government disease surveillance. And again, this will form part of your sort of clinical training and rotations. We have a dissection room, which we'll use quite a lot in years 1 and 2. We have a small student laboratory, where again practicals are held. We have clinical skills labs, and also a mock veterinary practice where we can start to do simulation and communication skills practice. Future facilities, we're looking to expand the facilities and the species in the animal care unit. We're talking to a charity about having a cat unit, and we're also looking at the options for having pigs on site too. Sunnybray, so this is, again, it's on the same side of the road as the Miller Craveston. This is our old steading where our current equine unit, where equine studies and equine handling on veterinary nursing and rural animal health is delivered. We have a stable block, we have an outside menage, we have a couple of small teaching rooms, student changing facilities, and we have just finished a steading conversion, which you can see a bit of in the bottom right picture, of a large animal clinical skills lab. So this is where large animal clinical skills will be delivered, and we also have a student laboratory in here. As you can see in the picture, we have various models. We've also got a full-size dystocia cow and calf for practicing calving and things like that. So again, a really good facility for practicing practical skills. Future facilities starting being built soon is a ruminant handling facility, which will house a small number of cows and sheep for clinical examination and handling practicals. We're looking to build an open access clinical skills lab, a dog handling facility, and also looking at options for expanding pig and poultry handling facilities over at Sunnybray as well, to again give you opportunities to interact with all the key species. We also have a working farm just up the road, which is a working beef farm and sheep farm. A lot of our agriculture students spend a lot of their time up at Tulloch, so we have very good animal handling facilities. There are student facilities up there as well, and we're looking to continually improve the handling facilities, and also looking at ways of supporting students spending time during lambing season, so that they can fully experience that aspect of farming and veterinary care. So that's all I wanted to speak about tonight. I realise that's been a bit of a whistle-stop tour, interspersed with me coughing and spluttering, which I apologise for. But as I said, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we'll try and answer them. But otherwise, go to our website, contact us through our inquiries form, and everyone here would be more than happy to help you in any way we can. Thank you. I'm just going to stop sharing.
That's great. Thank you very much, Paul. We already have a few questions waiting for us. So I will pop you onto the screen and then I will be a floating voice in the background reading out the questions to you.
Great, thank you.
So our first question is, under UCAS, you cannot apply through clearing without denying all other course options. Is there a way to apply that leaves you with a backup if you do not get into the vet course? Do I have to give up my place in the rural animal health course to apply to the vet course?
So, yeah, unfortunately, you cannot hold any offers from UCAS if you go into clearings. What I would say is that the application for rural animal health is open until the day the course starts. So if you were to apply to the vet course and didn't get in, I think there would still be the option to reapply to rural animal health. Again, if you want that in writing, please drop us an inquiry and we can make sure that we get all the right details to you. Unfortunately, UCAS are their own system, and they dictate how these things work in a way.
So the next question is, do the 5 higher grades all need to be in S5?
So what we have said, which is in keeping with the other Scottish vet schools, is that we would expect them to be taken in one sitting. Now, if you had an individual circumstance where you got 2 A's, 3 A's, a B and a C, or 2 A's, 2 B's and a C, then and you wanted to resit one of those to get it up to the B that is required, then if you were doing that alongside your advanced hires, I still think that would, we would consider that. But if you are in that kind of situation, again, I would encourage you just to drop us an inquiry so we can talk about your specific circumstances and work out, what route we can support you with to get onto our program.
What are the A-level entry requirements?
Okay, so our A-level entry requirements, and Stephen's going to correct me if I tell you wrong, an A and 2 Bs, and that is an A in a science subject. But again, we don't specify which science that has to be.
That's absolutely right.
Phew.
If you got an A and a C at advanced higher, would that allow you to get in, especially if you had higher than the minimum grades for hires?
Again, it's very difficult to say for sure. I would certainly think that we would consider an application at that in how you describe. But again, if you find yourself or you think you're going to be in that situation, please contact us via the inquiries, just so we can, have a proper think about it and give you the best advice we can. But certainly, as I tried to say in the presentation, the reason we have gone for the lower tariff is that's not all that makes people a good vet. Actually your supplementary documentations, your commitment to what SRUC's mission is, your interactions with communities and rural practice and livestock and all those things we talked about are, if anything, more important than your grades. So please, if you haven't quite got what our tariff says, don't think that means you cannot apply. But what I would do is urge you to contact us in advance, just so we can offer you some advice, and just it makes us aware that we have people who haven't quite met that tariff, but may be the kind of applicants that we really want on our vet program.
What is the difference between a BVSci degree and BV Med, and why is this one the former rather than the latter?
It's a very good question. So I studied at the RVC, so I have a BVet Med, a Bachelor in Veterinary Medicine. I worked at Cambridge, where I can't even remember what our degree was at Cambridge that we offered. I worked at Edinburgh, where it was a BV M&S, so a Bachelor of Veterinary Medicine and Science degree. It doesn't matter what they call it. The important thing is that the degree is accredited by the RCVS and makes you eligible to be a veterinary surgeon. It all comes down to what those universities decided to call their degree when they set them up. And, we could have called ourselves, a Bachelor in Veterinary Medicine. We didn't. But yeah, it doesn't actually have any impact on your ability to join the RCVS and be a veterinary surgeon.
Along the similar lines of the previous question, would advanced higher results of A in English, C in chemistry, and C in biology be considered?
So again, I don't want to get into sort of talking about individual specifics, but as I said previously, please drop us, go through our inquiries, drop us an email. They come back to me straight away, and I can sort of offer you more advice on an individual level. Yes, I think that is the best advice that I would give anyone who has a slightly doesn't quite meet our tariffs. But like I said, a really important part of our admissions process is the supplementary stuff, that commitment to food safety, to rural practice, to communities. So again, certainly don't be put off if you haven't quite got what our tariff says. But yeah, please contact us individually so that we can offer advice.
Will SAS fund both the Rural Animal Health HND and the vet degree?
So funding covers, again, Stephen will correct me if I say this wrong, funding will cover 6 years of study. Obviously, if you did rural animal health and the vet degree, that would be 7 years. SRUC has committed to covering that final year cost for anyone who has done the rural animal health diploma. So no, SAS funding wouldn't cover it, but we will find an alternative so that you are not financially at a disadvantage.
When would interviews take place for 2024?
So if we went into clearings for July the 5th, all being well, we would do interviews as soon in July as possible. I would hope all hands to deck at SRUC in getting through applications, that we would get interview dates out the first week after clearings opens. Our plan is that for this first year through clearings, interviews will be online. So we're not expecting people to get to Aberdeen in short notice. So hopefully that will make things easier. But I would hope that we would have all of our interviews done by the first week of August. Thankfully, none of our admin staff are on to faint at me making that statement. But we want to get our interviews done as soon as we can. So that's why we really are hoping that we can in advance get some of those supplementary documentation submitted.
And when would the program start in 2024?
The program will start in September, I believe, is the first date, the start date.
What are the intake numbers?
So we are looking at having a cohort of 60 students. So that is what we're intending to stick at. We're not intending to increase that unless the need of the Scottish veterinary profession increases.
Do you have to do rural animal health HNC and HND, or can you go straight to HND then to the vet course?
So the rural animal health is a HNC followed by a HND. Currently, if you want to use it as a gateway program into the vet course, then you would need to do the HNC and the HND. If, say, you met our tariff and the reason you'd signed up for the HNC was because you didn't get an offer from another vet school at your first application, then there would be no reason you couldn't apply after the HNC if you had met our tariff for the vet program, but we wouldn't currently guarantee an interview at that stage.
What length does the reference for interest in rural animal healthcare have to be?
So I'm assuming that is a question about our supplementary documents. If not, please pop another question into the chat. We have set the letter to the head of school at, I think it is around 600 words. So it's not a huge document. And then the reference from an individual about your suitability for the veterinary profession and the vet program. I think we've put a limit on that of sort of 500 words. So again, we're not expecting pages and pages from a referee because we know how valuable everyone's time is. But again, all those details will be on the website when we can make those documents available.
I am in S3. What subjects do you think would be good to take in S4? I am planning on taking 3 sciences.
So, I mean, I suppose it comes down to, if you are going to apply to 4 vet schools, which you're allowed to apply to, then you'll have to meet the criteria for all of them. As I said, we probably have the least specific requirements. So I think what you need to do is consider, are you planning on applying to Edinburgh, Glasgow, one of the English vet schools? And then you may need to do more sciences than you would need to if you were just applying to SRUC's vet program. What I would say is, do you know what? You need to enjoy the subjects that you do, because actually you need to get the grades. So it has to be a personal choice, but the big contributing factor is which universities you're going to apply to, which courses you're going to apply for, and what their requirements are.
Now, the next question is, what are your IB entry requirements? I have popped those into the response box. So it's an overall score of 34 with 665 in HL subjects, 2 of which are science subjects.
Great. Yeah, all of our tariff information is on the website, including the contextual policy as well. So yeah, please have a look at that as well.
Do you have a sense or ratio of Scottish to other students, including international, yet? I think you answered that briefly earlier.
Yeah, so as I said, we're intending a cohort of 60. We have agreed Scottish funding for 50 Scottish domicile students. So that would be our intention, to have 50 Scottish domicile students, 10 rest of UK. Currently, we don't have an international application process. We will not have AVMA or EVE accreditation, at least initially. So our degree will only make you eligible for the RCVS and practicing in the UK.
You've sort of answered it with that one. Is the application open to foreign students from Nigeria?
So we haven't got an international application process at present, so no.
Does this course mean you have to be a vet in rural areas, or could you be based in a city in your career?
We cannot dictate where you get a job, where you live, what you want to do. What I would say is our program you'll be taught in every subject, you'll be taught in every species, and you will have a very good grounding for first opinion practice. You will probably receive more education in livestock, large animal, mixed practice than some other vet schools would provide, but you will be able to live, work, practice wherever you want to once you are a fully qualified vet.
Is there a LEAPS or REACH type widening access lower grade? Yes.
Yep, so we work with LEAP and REACH. So again, there'll be details on our website, but also we're working with REACH Aberdeen specifically. But yes, all of those programs will apply.
And I've popped the link to the full entry requirements that include IB, Irish, and the contextual entry requirements in them into the box for that one, and I will include that in the email I send out tomorrow with the link to the recording of this as well. So the next question is, good evening, I joined a little bit late and was wondering if you already covered if there has been an update on when applications for clearing will open.
So clearings always opens on the 5th of July. That is a standard UCAS clearings opening. So that is what we are aiming for now. Like I said, we are hoping that we can do something with our supplementary documentation sooner, but as soon as we can do or do that, we will send, we will advertise that through social media. We will send out details to our contact list. So if you are thinking of applying to us through clearings, please make sure you are on our contact list so that any updates we can send to you as and when. We want to make this process as easy as possible for you so we can inform you as quickly as possible.
Is the statement of motivation the same as the personal statement you submit through UCAS?
No, so a personal statement is, in our mind, a very different thing. So again, we will be updating the website with sort of pointers about what that letter to the head of school will include. But no, it's very much more focused on sort of your alignment with the SRUC mission, what rural and remote communities are like, and how the veterinary profession feeds into that, how important it is in areas of food security and public health and things like that. So it will be different to the personal statement. And if you did just cut and paste your UCAS personal statement, it wouldn't tick the boxes. But like I said, we will update the website with details of what that includes, so you can start thinking about it and planning it. Like I said, it's not a big document, it's not a high word count that we're asking for.
If I have received an offer from another vet school, can I still apply to SRUC, and what are the risks attached?
So if you want to apply through clearings, unfortunately, you cannot have any offers outstanding. So you have to turn down any offers you hold to apply through clearings. That is a risk. I'm not gonna, I don't even know whether, I would have risked that back in the day. So that is a very personal decision that you have to make. Obviously, if you've been offered a place at another vet school, you would be a very good candidate for our program. But yes, that is a risk, and that is an individual decision that you have to make. I can't make any other comments really, but yes, there is a risk involved if you have to turn down any offers you hold.
How do we submit the supplementary documents prior to clearing so we can get it in before interview?
So again, we're looking at the process of how we would do that. If we are allowed to, then they will be through our website. There will be links to a survey type system where you can input your responses for those documents. So as I said, it's not currently live, but as soon as we can make that live, we will send out that information. But we will update the website very soon with details of what will be included in those documents, so you can start to plan them in maybe a Word document, and then that would be could be a case of just cutting and pasting into the form when it's available.
Is there a disadvantage to having less rural work experience?
No, there is no disadvantage at all. We're not, the details of where you see practice are less important than what you've learnt and what you've seen and how you've reflected on that, and that is all part of that vocational experience form. So I'm not going to Google search where all these practices are that you put down to find out exactly where they are. So I want to know what you've experienced, what you've learnt from those practices, and what from earlier practices has led you to learn or focus on in later practices. So no, you wouldn't be at a disadvantage, but certainly for the letter of the head of school, having an appreciation of rural practice and the vet's role in rural communities and practices would be a benefit.
I have a conditional offer for the rural animal health. Should I apply for halls of residence ASAP? I think I'll take this one, shall I?
Yeah, please.
As I understand it, you have to have a confirmed place before you can get a place at Hillhead Halls of Residence, which is the Aberdeen University halls that we have a partnership with. I'm not sure how it works with private halls of residence. There are quite a few of those available in Aberdeen, but for the Aberdeen University halls of residence that we use, you have to have either accepted your unconditional offer or met your conditional requirements and accepted the place prior to that. But I can double check on that if you email me. You'll have my email address because that's how the link to tonight was sent out. If you want to email me, and then I can confirm that one way or another for you. Do you have any planned open events or information sessions for 14 to 16-year-olds?
We will have another in-person open day. When's the next one, Stephen?
June, August, and November.
Yeah. So those will be our next 3 open days. People of any school age are welcome to come to those and see what we're about and visit the site. And you know that we do have plans for other things for earlier years students, but again they're nothing concrete yet. But again, if you're on our contact list, any things like that, you'll be sent information about as they occur.
I applied for rural animal health and gave a personal statement in UCAS. I have received a conditional offer but did not mention anything about the supplementary info required. Should I be sending this in?
No, so that isn't. So the supplementary documentation isn't required for rural animal health. That is only for the vet degree program. If you were planning to apply for the vet program through clearings and therefore you've turned down your rural animal health place, you would then have to submit the supplementary documentation and apply for the vet course through UCAS separately. It's not a transfer type thing. It's a new application process.
When does the application through clearing close? Is this before results day?
So again, that's the UCAS specific thing. The application process, I think, doesn't close until the course starts. However, it is likely we will sort of fill places through either conditional or unconditional offers as soon as we can, because we want to give our students plenty of opportunity to get everything else in order that they need to. So I would urge anyone who is planning to apply through clearings to have their application submitted on or as close to July the 5th as possible.
Will there be an option to do an intercalated degree or MSc during the SRUC veterinary degree program?
So yeah, intercalation is certainly something that is possible. We have some potential opportunities within SRUC, but we would also certainly support external intercalation. That will have an impact on funding, which you need to be aware of. Not all intercalations will be a master's degree. Some of them will just be another bachelor's degree, depending on when you do them. But certainly that is something we will have sessions about in years 1 and 2 if people are interested in that route. Typically, people intercalate after year 2 or after year 3, but there's the option to do it after year 4 as well.
How do I sort accommodation if through clearing, as the places may have gone as per your previous answer? So
we have assurances from Hillhead Accommodation that they will have enough accommodation for our students, and they know that we will be getting our applicants through clearings, so that shouldn't be a problem. As Stephen said, there are also a lot of private halls of residence which actually are the same kind of cost as the University of Aberdeen ones. So there is a lot of student accommodation available in Aberdeen, but Hillhead are prepared that it may be short notice that people are applying for their halls for our programme.
If you have an unconditional for rural animal health, are you likely to regain your place? I'm assuming that's if you drop it to
turned it
try
down and applied. That I don't know for certain. I think there is capacity in rural animal health to take a slightly larger cohort. So, and I know that there were people who were accepted onto rural animal health even a week before the course started last year. So I wouldn't be able to say for certain, but I think it would be highly likely that you would still be able to join rural animal health. But again, please drop us an inquiry or an email about that, and we can follow that up with both admissions, but also with the rural animal health team.
It looks like that's all the questions for the moment. So we'll maybe just give it another 30 seconds to see if any more come through.
Like we said, guys, though, we're always happy to field questions through our inquiries contact page, or you've got Stephen's email, so you can send your questions to him, and he can send them out to the most relevant people within the team to answer them. We realise it's a lot still quite up in the air. It's as frustrating for us as it is for you, because it is out of our hands. But yeah, we want to support you to get onto our program in any way we can.
So we've got a couple of last ones just coming through. Are applications from mature students welcome?
Yep, we would welcome applications from mature students, and again, if it isn't a standard pathway, maybe you didn't do a science degree, or maybe you haven't done a degree, then yeah, please just drop us a query, and we can talk about your individual circumstances. But no, of course we would welcome mature students, and our postgraduate fees are significantly less than the other UK vet schools.
And apologies if you have covered this, but do I need to complete an HNC to start an HND? And if so, how will the funding work?
Yeah, so you have to do a HNC before you can do a HND, if I'm correct, Stephen. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, so yeah. Year one is the HNC and year two is the HND.
Yeah. So that's how it works. So as I said earlier, funding wise, if you did a 2-year HNC, HND, and then did the vet program, currently SAS funding would only be for 6 years, but SRUC have committed to supporting that 7th year if you took that rural animal health onto the BVSci route.
What are the entry requirements for the HNC? It is 2 Bs and a C at higher, with one of the Bs being biology. Right. So that looks like all the questions for the moment. So I will just leave it to Paul to say thank you and good night.
So thank you, everyone. Like I said, we'd love to see you at one of our in-person open days. But if you do have any questions, then yeah, please just get in touch. We'd love to hear from you.